Pirates started a country?
Leave your stupid farmer job and become a privateer, so we make sure France doesn't become a global superpower.
I want to be a pirate
Alright,
so
thanks
bad.
guys. The War of the Spanish Succession is over. Well, I suppose that I gotta thank you somehow. You're fired. Get out of my office. Well, that sucks. What are we supposed to do with all these warships, cannons, and not vitamin C's that we bought ourselves?
I got a couple ideas. Oh, I guess this man will too.
Could start our own pirate republic on the strategically placed island of Nassau. Yes, let's do it.
Hell yeah, we're going to the Bahamas. I actually just visited the Bahamas for the first time like 6 months ago.
And so, over 1,500 battle-hardened Spanish, and now British-hating lads, sailed across the globe ready to claim their new hangout.
Interesting borders right here, I'm noticing. I love Historically. Historically is back with another video. I was so excited when I saw this in my inbox this morning.
Spot. And they quite literally just claimed it, even though it's one of the most strategically important spots in the Atlantic. Let's talk about that for a bit. And hi, my name is Pirate Oliver. I like pirates.
I like turtles.
Facts, part 12. Alright, so
It's so funny, I can't help but romanticize pirates because it seems so fun, but I know when I think of the realism of being a pirate, it's definitely not so fun. You're not gonna be Jack Sparrow.
how did this pirate country start? Well, the year is 1666, 35 years before the War of the Spanish Succession. Or rather, the war about which powerful family gets to own Spain and its territories.
So, I'm not gonna spoil it, but yeah, I know who, yeah.
Which was a lot. It was a time of peace, international friendship, and who am I kidding? Every major
Not 1666.
power was 24/7 raiding each other's colonies and ships. One day, in 1666, a young Brit almost banks his ship on the shallow shore
Speaking of Jack Sparrow, this feels straight out of Pirates of the Caribbean.
of a very conveniently positioned island. He names it, very patriotically, Charlestown, named after the King of England. Charles I? Odd name. He starts gathering his friends, and slowly and surely, they build a fort.
This feels so fun. It feels like literally real-life Minecraft. I think that's why we all still love Minecraft. It's just our inner pirate coming out.
A small town to make it truly Charlestown and not Charles Rock, and start to trade with the nearby locals. It's a nice, cute, little colonial community. Shame I'm going to
A lot of the times, that's how these colonial communities popped up. Like, it wasn't like thousands of people instantly. It was like maybe 100.
burn it down, says the Spanish admiral in 1684, and he did.
You bastard!
The whole town was turned to charcoal, and the colonists were bullied off the island. But
Damn.
just like cockroaches, the British popped up again.
Again, historically with cockroaches, I feel like whether it's calling Poland a cockroach or Germany a cockroach, or I guess these British colonists a cockroach, I guess everyone's just cockroaches at this point.
And to throw the Spanish off, this time they named the island
Oh, they were Spanish, my bad. Oh no, they were British, but they were throwing the Spanish, I see.
Nassau, named after the recently appointed Protestant King of England, William III. I don't get it. Willem was part of the Nassau family, that's why it's called Nassau.
That's smart. Outsmart those Spaniards.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. The British rebuilt the whole island, slapped a fancy, stronger fort on top.
Remember that it's obviously the British that ended up colonizing the Bahamas over time, so this is not shocking.
And audibly laughed at the Spanish every time they tried to take the island. Fast forward to the 1700s, and we are now in the early stages of the War of the Spanish Succession. England is still laughing at Spain's attempt to reclaim the island, but then Big Bro jumps in to help Spain, and the island gets flattened a second time.
Freaking France, their biggest rival, with the Napoleonic hats too.
This time, they made sure to spray French artifacts
We're getting shot with literally croissants. Croissant?
everywhere. You know, so those annoying Brits wouldn't return. With the whole island flattened again,
They did what with the croissants?
but then Big Bro jumps in to help Spain, and the island gets flattened a second time. This time, they made sure to spray French artifacts everywhere. You know, so those annoying Brits wouldn't return. With the whole island flattened again, it became abandoned.
So sad. Imagine you and your homies spent all year building a Minecraft base, and then the French show up and just blow up your house. That's literally how you start like a generational war.
Technically, it was under British rule, but in practice, there was no government, no defense, and no law. Just
During the 1700s, it was kind of just like, you know, people would throw up flags wherever they would claim it's theirs, but I mean, if someone wanted to come take it, they would.
a beautiful
It
port,
wasn't very difficult.
empty buildings, and broken walls. Yep, don't mind me, I'm just selling rum. Oh no. Run!
Where's the rum gone?
Ever heard of Blackbeard? How about Jack Rackham?
Hey, that's me.
Maybe Charles Vane? All these pirate legends had their pirate
Jack Calico, Blackbeard, $50 million wanted dead or alive. Charles Vane, Benjamin Hornigold.
careers from Nassau. Hell, even the most known pirate flag is from Nassau itself.
Oh, yeah. That's, what is that called again? I forgot the name of that.
But just like a crew needs a
that specific pirate flag has a name.
captain,
The Ruby
Nassau
something.
needed a pirate governor. Meet, and I'm not making this name up, Benjamin Hornigold.
Let's
You
go.
couldn't get a more piratey name even if you tried.
Hornigold. I think I said Horngold. Close enough. Professional pirate. That's for sure.
As a privateer turned pirate, he looked at the chaos that was unfolding on the island and said, alright, enough is enough. If we want this all
This literally reminds me of Tortuga.
to work out, we need to put some rules on the ground. He gathers the captains, tells them to put the swords down and to stop headbutting over whose pirate is actually cooler, and finally start building what will become the world's first accidentally democratic pirate commune. And the
Accidentally democratic pirate commune. That's absolutely insane. But honestly, this would have been a fun time. You have all those stupid European powers with all their government bureaucracy and their monarchs and whatever, but I just want to be out here with my pirate homies with my own deserted island.
pirates, they listened. Effectively, Hornigold forged himself into becoming the first president of the Pirate Republic. His first
That's
act
cool.
as president was to enforce rules. For example, from now on, crews voted for their captains. No longer the loudest guy gets to automatically be the leader. Another big reform was that loot was now to be shared fairly. And most reforming of them
Is
all,
this literally a democratic pirate republic that got formed in the Bahamas? What is this?
if you lost, for example, a leg during battle, you got compensated for the work hazard.
Nice.
But Hornigold, for all his pirate
A socialist pirate republic?
had one very weird quirk. He refused to attack English ships. Like, he would happily rob a Spanish galleon blind, torch a French sloop, and pants a Dutch merchant captain in broad daylight. But if you were flying the Union Jack, he would tip his hat and say, cheerio, mate.
Interesting. I don't know why the Portuguese weren't included there. Obviously, the Portuguese were in Brazil, but I'm not sure what their presence was like in the Gulf of Mexico or the Caribbean region. Maybe they played less of a role.
Which was a little awkward, considering the entire point of Nassau was just taking it to the British Empire. So, after ruling the pirate,
Well, maybe they thought that if he, as long as he didn't piss off the hive mind, the monarch, the British monarch, then the British are happy because they still claim it officially claim it. It's still their name on the map. But de facto, these guys are essentially in control.
country for 3 years, the pirates voted for a different president.
This is literally what happens. The history of the pirate republic. That's crazy.
And he was succeeded by none other than his spooky bearded apprentice, Edward Teach, aka Blackbeard.
Oh,
Blackbeard
no.
wasn't interested in building a
Blackbeard.
republic, he was building a brand. He lit fuses in his beard, strapped pistols across his chest,
He literally looks like the Flying Dutchman.
and draped himself in black like a pirate Batman. Okay, show off, you might think, but this whole brand building was actually genius.
Brand building. I'm literally thinking of Megamind right now. The difference between me and you, presentation.
The stories of him and his crew became known all across the Atlantic. Everyone was afraid of the pirate maniac. Merchant ships surrendered the moment they saw his flag, practically donating the loot. Nassau flourished under Blackbeard's
Oh, yeah. I've seen that flag before, too.
rule. The harbor filled with ships, markets popped up selling stolen cargo, bad rum,
Let's go.
and maybe
Yeah, give me those Aldis.
one or two cursed objects. Pirates of all flags poured into Nassau. British, Irish, American, Afro-Caribbean, even a few confused Scandinavians. Nassau
Wow. They were far, far away from the Viking time periods. Maybe they got lost and 600 years went by.
had to become the Las Vegas of the Atlantic. No rules, no kings, and definitely no taxes.
That is such a funny metaphor right there. The Las Vegas of the Caribbean, of the Atlantic Ocean, just gambling, probably some, how do I phrase this? Some women of the night, and then no taxes?
Cool, said Blackbeard during his third year as a president. Anyway, I'm bored. So he sailed north, made deals, blockaded entire ports, and left the Republic in somewhat capable hands.
Oh no.
Well, meet the third and most radical president of the Pirate Republic, Charles Vane.
I feel like this is going to show us just how fragile democracy is, and I'm comparing that to the early days of the United States. Obviously, we had George Washington. Thank goodness. I think about this all the time. Thank goodness he stepped down. They literally wanted, unfortunately, a lot of people at the time literally wanted him to be the de facto king of America, and he didn't. He knew that that was obviously a bad move, so he retired and just went and, lived on a farm for a little bit there. Thank goodness, because, like, man, those first couple leaders, democracy is so fragile.
Imagine if anger had a body. Yeah, that was Charles Vane. While Hornigold was the rule maker and Blackbeard was the showman, Vane was the edgelord extremist.
Oh,
Would you
no.
believe the only good British ship was a burning one? And diplomacy
Oh no, I think this is where the downfall begins. If they are going to start to attack the British, well then of course the British are going to come over there and stop their little party.
was for cowards and poets.
Now this is the French, because those little hats right there, but
Cool. No wait, not cool. In 1718, the year when Vane got president, there was a massive influx of pirate settlers due to the massive layoffs in the European countries.
yeah, because European countries were like hiring pirates to go after some of their rivals and mess things up. I mean, this is a whole like market economy. The Caribbean, there's so much wealth here. And if you really think about it, the Caribbean kind of acts like the Mediterranean Sea in Europe. It is the most similar spot that we have to the Mediterranean, is the Caribbean, with centered around Cuba. There's so many different spots you can easily sail. It doesn't take too far to get to Florida or the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, or even down to Venezuela and Colombia.
Everyone went to Nassau, which the King of England, Nassau,
It's
Willem
very easy to trade, and there's a lot of different European powers that were around. Obviously, the Spanish were in Florida and in modern-day Mexico. You had the French in Louisiana. The British, somewhere up there. I mean, they're in the Bahamas, technically.
III started to notice due to literally
were in
every
Belize.
ship sailing towards America.
Jamaica.
Salutations! Yar, ya scallywag. Where are you sailing to? Cringe? How dare you
Cringe.
dress your king like... where are we sailing off to, matey? Haven't you heard? Nassau has become the place for all the privateers who got laid off. We're
Oh my goodness, there's this massive trek from Europe all the way to the Bahamas?
going to start our own pirate country with blackjack and cookers. The
Let's
king
go.
can stick it up his
Did you say cookers? I think he said cookers. I love chefs.
arse for having us fight all this time for his country, just to fire us the day after. Oh, I see. Alright, thank you. Hey, how's that for up your arse, huh? Now that the teacher knows about their cool hideout, the Nassau boys were getting a bit anxious. Sure, they can plunder a merchant ship or two, but the Royal Army? That's not an easy fight.
Especially at this time. I mean, the British had the biggest navy at this time, unless, like, the Spanish and French could team up against the British, maybe with the Dutch help, but the British have such a powerful naval force.
First yet, more and more warships started to appear on the horizon, and leading those ships was Woodes Rogers. But before we get to him, let's check in with our pirate president Charles Vane, who was, at this point, having a little moment.
He had smooth brain, apparently.
See, Charles wasn't much of a surrender guy, or a talking guy, or a not burning things guy. So when Woodes Rogers politely sailed into Nassau and asked, "Hey lads, maybe stop being criminals?" Vane responded by lighting his ship in the harbor on fire and sending it straight at him.
There's just some attributes to certain leaders where you can say, like, yeah, it's probably not going to go very well. A guy like this probably shouldn't be leader. However, do gotta admit, he sounds like the perfect leader for a pirate nation.
Is this our plan? It was
There's nothing that says a pirate's gotta be like absolutely insane and rowdy and dirty and have scurvy, even though that is kind of the case, but they could have been civilized. It seems like they started off civilized, and then they elected this one dude that maybe tarnished their whole reputation. Maybe that's why we see pirates as being these kind of barbaric boat people.
But Charles thought it was. But Charles thinks a lot of things, to be honest. One guy especially not loving the flaming ship as diplomacy approach was Charles's quartermaster, a guy named Jack Rackham. You might know him better as Calico Jack, named after his favorite fabric and least favorite survival instinct.
He is looking absolutely fabulous.
Jack had been Vane's right-hand man for months now. He'd seen the screaming, he'd seen the fire, he'd seen the moment Charles tried to headbutt a seagull for looking at him wrong. And Jack, credit where it's due,
Keep Vane. Pros: bold, bloodthirsty, bad to the bone. Cons: reckless, sharp as a marble, animal cruelty, and bad fashion taste.
had his concerns. Sure, Charles started out as a fiery, brutal pirate, inspiring others, and probably got to be president because of that. But recently,
Is that the best attribute for a leader, though? Maybe the beginning, depending on the time, I guess.
he was off. For example, a couple months prior, they were on this massive warship of theirs, and about to plunder a teeny-tiny French merchant ship, which they absolutely could have taken. Charles made the call to back off due to the risks of losing. That's not very captain-y-like.
What?
He also got his ass
That is also doesn't sound very piratey-like.
whooped by a lesser drunk, damaging his reputation yet again.
Yo, this sounds like a prison gang, which I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Of course, pirates are kind of like prison gangs, but isn't that what happens? Like, if you're the leader of a gang and you get your butt whooped, you're no longer that leader. In fact, you might be out of the gang.
And now finally, while a literal firing squad is on the horizon, ready to hang each and every pirate, instead of bargaining for the safety of the island's troublemakers, he basically declared war on them. New vote, new vote. And just like that, Charles Vane was out. And his extra flamboyant sidekick was in. Meet the fourth and final president of the Pirate Republic.
Hey, you know, they made it to 4. Not bad. They made it to 4. However, it's only over the course of, well, 5 years. That's actually not that impressive. Having 4 different leaders in 5 years, that's kind of crazy.
And the pirates couldn't have chosen a better president. Jack was an
Okay.
insanely skilled war general. He was so good, in fact, that modern historians compare him to legends like Hannibal and Alexander the Great. Jack called the pirates together, set up a combat plan, and absolutely crushed Woodes Rogers and his fleet. There were only 1,500 pirates on the island, but they could shoot really well, I tell you.
Wow.
Then, feeling ambitious, the pirates sailed and laid siege to England. Even though they were outnumbered by 1 to 1,000, they destroyed the British defenses and captured England, effectively renaming it to the United Pirate Kingdom. Then, after
What the hell is going on?
stumbling into Oppenheimer and
Flamboyant Jack Sparrow. That's how they describe this chapter on YouTube.
Heisenberg at the same time, who just finished their nuclear bomb, they threw it on Spain and France, and everyone
What is going on here?
died. The end. No, wait, this isn't an alternative history video. Let's rewind a bit.
I wish it was. I really wish it was.
And he liked tomboys, which isn't just a
What? What? Where did the hell did that come from?
throwaway joke. It's historically accurate. See, Jack Rackham fell in love with Anne Bonny, who was a female pirate who, due to sexism on the work floor, disguised herself as a man. And
Mulan? He fell in love with Mulan. That's crazy. Why am I reminded of that Mulan meme of like, damn, I can't even remember. But yeah, when you find out Mulan is actually just a woman, not a cute boy.
later Jack also fell in love with Anne's bestie, Mary Red, who also disguised herself as a man. Both of them carried swords, both of them could
Was that the One Piece?
who also disguised herself as a man. Both of them
Oh my god, is that One Piece?
carried swords, both of them could absolutely destroy you in a bar fight, and both of them, for some unfathomable reason, liked Jack back. It was an
He had a harem? That's crazy. Yeah, that's one thing you don't really hear much about pirates. They weren't, I mean, were they good with the ladies? I think they were good at making business deals with the ladies. But typically speaking, you know, you kind of just, pirates are a bunch of dudes on a wooden ship out there in the ocean. And you don't really hear much about their stories with the ladies.
unfathomable reason because Jack was probably the worst pirate that ever existed. He put all his skill points in charisma and 0 in leadership. And
Bro, the Skyrim reference here is so cool. This is taking me back. BS your way through.
war tactics. He couldn't fight on equal grounds and only preyed on smaller merchant ships. And you best bet your ass that he could in no way, shape or form beat Woodes Rogers and his royal backing. If Rogers wanted to, he could have at any time signaled his fleet to attack, and without a shiver of doubt killed each pirate on the island. But Rogers was sympathetic. He was a privateer himself during the Spanish Succession War, and he himself was a victim of corporate downsizing. During the war,
Man, the man always, doesn't matter what century you're in, the man's always kind of trying to keep us down. Freaking HR.
he led one of the most successful privateering expeditions in British history. He circumnavigated the globe, captured Spanish treasure ships, and came home to parades and praise.
Makes sense. Remember, at this time, the Spanish were going from western Mexico all the way shooting across the Pacific Ocean, getting to the Philippines, taking a bunch of gold back. There was a lot of value to get out of that.
Surely, the government thanked him by the only way it knew how. By, instead of firing him, they forgot about him and let him go bankrupt. He sank all his money into the war effort, didn't get reimbursed properly, and ended up in debtor's prison for a bit. But then, in classic Empire logic, the British were like, "Hey Woods, remember that pirate problem we ignored for a decade? Wanna go fix it?" And Roger said, "Sure, can I have my money back?" The British said no, but if you can get rid of them, you can be the governor. May you drown in your teacup.
That is a pretty nice deal. If I'm sitting in jail and I get to go on one last mission, first of all, what says I'll even go back? Like, I mean, I guess I gotta go through with this, or else, like, I'll cause a mutiny among the crew they send with me, and they'll probably come kill me, but...
Alright, fine, I'll do it. Long story short, Rogers knew how it feels to be betrayed by the same country you fought.
Bro, this guy's literally like the Suicide Squad. Bad guys taught to go capture and get other bad guys.
12 years for, and understood why his war comrades
What are we, some type of Suicide Squad?
turned to piracy in the times of need. So, he sent them an ultimatum. If you surrender, we will pardon you of any crime you've committed, basically allowing you to start with a clean slate.
Nice.
However, if you don't, you'll know what happened. And
Yeah.
our fourth president, Jack Rackham, he felt like he just hit the net 20 roll on that charisma check. What a lucky escape.
That
And
is
so,
crazy.
Calico Jack, pirate president and certified tomboy enthusiast, stood before Woods.
Oh boy, enthusiast. Is that a so popular trend? Never got that. I never got that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not cool enough. But I've been hearing, yeah, that's been around for like years. I gotta be honest, guys. I don't get the tomboy obsession. Doesn't make sense to me. But you know, teach their own.
To Rogers and said, "Absolutely, sir. Thank you, sir. Piracy? Never heard of it, sir." He took the pardon, signed his name, posed dramatically, probably blew a kiss, and promised to never touch another ship again. 2 months later, he stole a sloop from Nassau's own harbor and went straight back to pirating, like the whole pardon thing had
With his two tomboys. What a romantic end.
just been a dream. I mean, bless Rogers' heart, but we're talking about pirates here. They were once esteemed privateers, but after more than 10 years on a pirate island, you will slowly develop a frick you, I do what I want mentality.
That's so funny. Hey, the Caribbean islands probably have that effect on you. 10 years of living on literally a tropical paradise? I can't imagine what that would do to your mind.
Anyway, after Jack and many others in July of 1718 accepted the pardon, the Pirate Republic of Nassau was officially dead. Played
Rip, so sad. I wonder if any of the American founding fathers knew about this and took notes. Why do I feel like maybe? Maybe. There might have been. I mean, because obviously these guys were dealing with the British Empire, so were us Americans. Did one of the founding fathers at least take notes and be like, all right, let's not do this, let's not do that, because this is the next, democracy to pop up in the same continent.
time's over, lads. Go home to your wife and kids. We left for bloody 12 years. But now comes
Not
the
bad.
fun part. What happened to our main characters? Did they all take the deal? Or did some,
Yeah, what kind of horrible deaths did they all have?
Charles Vane, flip them off and continue pirating? Well, let's go down the list, shall we?
It's so funny how, like, I'm really thinking of the Mafia a lot right now, maybe because he brought up Las Vegas earlier. Like, the Mafia was so huge in America, also in Italy. I guess it still is, even to this day, in Italy, like in Sicily and things like that. But the Mafia was massive. It's interesting to see where crime and organized crime differs throughout different eras, where, like, obviously piracy is not a big thing, at least not in the Caribbean. You can still find a ton of piracy in Somalia and that part of the world, and the Strait of Malacca. But this stuff eventually just disappears when the economy dries up, when the world changes. But pirates, the Mafia. There's a little bit of a similarity there that I never really compared between the two.
Flip them off and continue pirating. Well,
I bring up the Las Vegas example because the Mafia is responsible for why Vegas even exists in the first place.
let's go down the list, shall we? Charles Vane did not take the deal at all. In fact, when offered the king's pardon, he reportedly said, "I would rather die a pirate than live like a servant."
Honestly, respect. I kind of respect this man for going out like that. Like, hey, I'm a pirate, and I don't give a frick.
Bold words for a man who would, shortly after, be abandoned by his own crew. Yeah, after a series of
Walked the plank. Trying to think what would be my favorite preferred pirate death. Because, like, there's lots of things. Can't you die from scurvy? You get scurvy. You get, I would probably choose alcoholism, I'm not going to lie. Like, let me just probably through rum. Because I don't want to walk the plank. I don't want to have to drown. And I also don't want to really get shot, especially not with those old muskets back in the day. That probably does terrible things bacteria-wise, just sitting there with a bullet wound.
bad calls and even
And out there with the, the ocean water kind of hitting it and stuff.
worse luck, Vane lost his ship, lost his men, and got captured. He was
Damn.
shipped back to Jamaica, where the government gave him exactly what he asked for: death. They hanged
Nice.
him in 1721. He died
Nice. Yeah, don't forget. So the British had a couple of different spots in the New World at this time. The Bahamas, they had the some Virgin Islands, the Jamaica. There was Guyana there. There was Belize. I think that's about it.
as he lived, angrily. Blackbeard also did not take the pardon, but he played the game longer. He kept raiding ships of the Carolinas, made shady deals with corrupt governors, and
Nice.
even threw a retirement party for himself at one point. It didn't help. The British Navy eventually caught up with him. In 1718, he was ambushed and killed in a brutal battle.
Dang, shot in the head? That's a crazy death sequence right there.
It reportedly took 5 bullets and over 20 sword wounds to bring him down. And then they chopped off his head and hung it from the bow of their ship.
That's wild that they could just do that back then. I don't know, maybe just different times. Maybe people were just a lot more, used to decapitation. Wasn't the French this is still way before the guillotine time. So I was going to say, maybe their rivals was making people headless and showing off their heads the popular cool thing. But they'd been doing this throughout history for a while. You ever heard of, who's that guy that was putting people up on stakes? The Bulgarian? The Bulgar.
For vibes. Hornigold? Plot twist, he did take the pardon. Not only that, but he switched sides.
Nice.
Hornigold went from pirate president to pirate hunter.
Wow, so rare to see that switch up, but can you really trust this guy? Was he still a pirate at the end? I feel like in his last moments, his dying breath, he would have done something like piratey.
Spent the last years of his life capturing his former friends and delivering them to the British. I guess karma took that somewhat personal, because not much later, he died in a shipwreck in 1719. Yikes.
Damn, that's not that good. That's not that great, but maybe he was making money. He was getting his cash.
Jack Rackham? We already know how that went. He got pardoned, then pirated again, and surprise surprise, then got captured. His execution
He pirated again and then got captured. Oh man, look at his executioner wearing off his little purple coat. That's disrespectful. The levels of disrespect, damn.
wasn't exactly cinematic. He was caught drunk, tried by court, and hanged like an amateur. But let's talk about the real stars. Anne Bonny and Mary Red. They fought like hell when the British came. Legend says they were the only 2 crew members still on their feet when the ship was boarded. Jack was passed out drunk. They were furious. The girls were both captured and sentenced to hang, but both pleaded the belly, claimed to be pregnant. It worked for Anne, and she got out scot-free.
Nice, man. Thinking like a pirate. That's crazy.
But not for Mary, who died in...
Does this happen in Pirates of the Caribbean? I now just remember the actress Keira Knightley. She pretended to be a boy at a certain part in the franchise, certain part in the trilogy. It's been a minute since I watched that. Isn't there 4 movies now?
prison, and disappeared from the records. Some say she died shortly after, some say she lived a quiet life. Some say she disguised herself again and became a tree this time.
Nice.
Nassau was cleaned up, fortified, and turned into a proper colony under Woodes Rogers. The fort was rebuilt, the pirates were gone, and over time, the Republic faded into legend. I like pirates.
Rip. Yeah, that's the moments. There's a part where the pirates kind of all disappear. Like I said, it's interesting the way, different crime or whatever, organized robbery. What do you even call this? Because I wouldn't even say pirates are committing crimes, just running wild, anarchy. It's weird how they just kind of disappear literally into the sunset, like Blackbeard here. Historically is not pregnant, but he never fails to deliver. Wow. The fact that the Republic of Pirates lasted longer than the Confederacy, that is a very good point. The South, during the Civil War, only lasted 4 years. So this Pirate Republic lasted a lot longer. Probably helped that they were not at war and at least not with the giant power. Like, if you're a small pirate confederacy with what how many men they have? 1,500? You know, they wasn't making anyone too angry. But as soon as they did, you know, things went bad. In a world without gold, we might have been heroes. Assassin's Creed, a black flag. I find it extremely funny that perhaps the best president was Blackbeard of all people. That is shocking. Maybe that's why he's still so famous. Out of all those, I know Blackbeard the most. That time, pirates started a country, and that country is Great Britain. Essentially, pirates literally said, "That's mine." Calico Jack, being a tomboy enthusiast, is highly relatable. 77 likes. Okay, so apparently this trend is still there. All right, babe, wake up. New historically just dropped. Bro, WTF. I went from never having seen your videos to being here 20 minutes after an upload. Love the videos, man. Please, that's literally me as well. Like, as of like a couple months ago, I didn't know about them, and then all of a sudden, my new favorite history channel. Probably the history channel of 2025. If I was going to do like awards and stuff like that, rankings, it's hard to say because history channels usually start years before you typically discover them on YouTube, but this is, I think, the de facto spiritual reincarnation of Oversimplified, in my opinion. It looks like he uploads another video every single month, so that's fantastic. The last time he uploaded, well, maybe about every single month, so that's great to see. But anyways, this is historically, definitely go subscribe. Like I just mentioned, I mean, this is probably my new favorite history channel of 2025. And a big thanks to my patrons this month. Drew's abandoned son from Alabama. Petition for Drew to make Hoi 4 ASMR Tingles version 2. Nolan. Alexander the Terrible. NordTyrol. Miglu the Goat. KingBearHaze. Connor Pavlik. Fredrik Tibblin. Carmel. Drew's Argentinian Trust Fund. Rip Grandpa. Douche Baggins. LuxembourgLover. And Tambre.